The digital age, or the digital revolution, is defined as the time period starting in the 1970s with the introduction of the personal computer and all technology created afterwards, providing the ability to transfer information freely and quickly. During this digital revolution, which is still going on, America has explored new technologies and innovations, exchanged mass information through these, and encountered problems along the way with prices and necessity. The 70s was a decade full of exploration of technology, especially that pertaining to computers. It was a time of innovation in the industry, with many personal computers being invented that are now considered icons of the time, such as the Commodore PET, the so-called Trash 80, and the IBM 5100. This increase in production of personal computers made it easier and more affordable for an average person to have access to this technology. Other important inventions based on the increased popularity of the PC include the Ethernet cable, used to connect computers and other hardware, the floppy disk, used to store information externally, the first laser printer to accompany new word processors, and VisiCalc, the first digital spreadsheet program. The Ethernet cord, which transfers data over networks, was not very popular when compared to other similar technologies at the time, such as Token Ring or ArcNet, until about 1980, when its production was made vastly cheaper. Ethernet became the standard for local area networks in 1985, beating out its past competitors. The floppy disk, introduced in 1970, revolutionized the idea of digital storage. It set the standard for portable, removable storage for computers and other technology. The conventional laser printer, invented in 1971, was made in response to the widened usage of the computer word processor. Producers encountered the problem of making it cheap enough for the average person, so it was until the late 80s that it became of any use to the average home, but nonetheless changed a great number of businesses' methods. VisiCalc caused a massive change in the industry of accounting and other fields that kept numerical data, changing millions of people's jobs. Other technological industries involved in the 70s, other than those based around computers, such as the expansion of the home movie industry by the creation of the VCR in 1971, and the music markets changed due to the invention of the Walkman in 1979. The video cassette recorder is an electromagnetic device that is capable of recording video and audio, whether it be a person's favorite TV show or a new movie, and was one of the most exciting inventions at the time for the average American. The first musical device able to play cassettes on the go, the Sony Walkman, brought convenient mobile music to citizens, becoming extremely popular in the years to come.
The origins of many products commonly used today had their start in the 80s. Many new technologies promoted the exchange of a vast American entertainment culture. Similar to how the iPod ruled the 2000s, the 80s belonged to the Sony Walkman. This device was a portable audio cassette player that single-handedly sparked a pop culture revolution and expansion of music and youth culture. Despite being invented in the 70s, the VCR's popularity grew immensely in the 80s, becoming a household device and a staple in American entertainment culture. Cable television also began in the 80s, and in its early years it was inefficient. However, when fiber optic cables were created, the technology was improved. During the 1980s, the U.S.'s regulation of government, education, and public access television created live cable television. This ignited a revolution in broadcasting, as it allowed the showcase of sporting events, news, and events to be broadcast in real time. The business and industrial aspect was one most influenced by the new tech. In 1980, most American offices heavily used typewriters. By the closing of the decade, the world was revolutionized as business became more efficient and more stable with the help of office PCs. Computer generating software, or CGI, was also developed and used to create movies and fueled American entertainment industry. Industrial robots also became prevalent. Late in the 1970s, American companies like General Electric and General Motors entered the field. This boom lasted long throughout the 80s, creating and destroying jobs in the industry. The 80s also saw space exploration and transportation research in the U.S. prosper, with the launching of space shuttles. Space shuttles were used as partially reusable Earth orbital systems. The first shuttle, the Columbia, took space on April 12, 1981, which started the space shuttle age. This invention also provided one of the most traumatic national events in the 80s, when a shuttle, the Challenger, exploded, killing 7. Technologies in the decade of the 80s were precedent for many technologies we commonly use today. The advancement of these technologies carries on throughout the 90s and into the millennium.
During the last decade of the 20th century, major advances in communication were made, as well as other technological progressions that changed the face of American society. The World Wide Web was invented in 1990 by British scientist Tim Berners-Lee. The World Wide Web was the first web browser, an invention that allowed users to retrieve, access, and view documents and other information on the internet. In the early 1990s, multiple web browser variants of the World Wide Web were released as more advances were made. Mark Andreessen created the first widely popular web browser, Mosaic, with his team soon after the World Wide Web was created. This new browser helped spread the knowledge of the internet and grew its use across America. Andreessen and Eric Bina released the 0.5 version of the Mosaic software for Windows computers. This update contained incredible support for customers, allowing news groups to be monitored to enable swift assistance. Alex Todick created a version of Mosaic to be used on Macintosh computers, making Mosaic the first browser ever with cross-platform support.
It's going to revolutionize the whole model of communication, because now it's going to be advertisement driven. So you'll be able to just talk for free and just happen to see some advertisement go by.
In the mid-1990s, WRAL-TV in North Carolina produced the first HD broadcast in America. In 1996, the station, who is a CBS affiliate, received the first HD license ever. In the coming 34 days, the station's technicians worked tirelessly in preparation for the country's first national HD broadcast. These technicians installed an HD transmitter in half the expected time, and the first national broadcast was successful. Although this new technology was impressive, it was extremely impractical when it was released, costing at least $1,000 more than the older, less advanced analog receivers with only a minuscule amount of HD programming to receive. Even though there was a major price gap at the release of the HD technology, over time more HD broadcasts were added and the price of HD receivers decreased slowly. Overall, this decade explored the influx of new electronic innovations and allowed the exchange of information to expand dramatically.
The 90s was home to many major advances in technology, and so were the 2000s. In 2001, the iPod was released by a company, Apple, that was only a fraction of the size that it would soon become. The iPod and iTunes allowed music to become extremely accessible to the public. People no longer needed to go to music stores to buy or listen to music. Later in the decade, Apple influenced the use of the cell phone. The perception of how phones were used changed when smartphones began to make their way into the everyday lives of Americans. Steve Jobs revolutionized the common one-feature phone by creating the iPhone on June 29, 2007. Once it was released, the iPhone took over the consumer market by storm, and Apple began to be known for more than just the Mac computer and the iPod. The iPhone's popularity sprouted from its access to the internet. Enjoyers of the iPhone were able to surf the internet with most of the capabilities of a computer, all in the palm of their hand. Google was a major addition to the internet and was invented in the late 1990s, but was not popular/perfected as a search engine until the 2000s. Google made it possible for anything to be searched online by providing a compilation of websites and sources related to the search topic. Google became so popular in the 2000s that the term Google was added to the dictionary as a word to describe a process of making an online search. Much like Google, Facebook has become a prominent company in the early 2000s. Facebook was one of the first social networking websites to ever exist, and in the early stages of its development, it provided users with a means to connect to their friends or acquaintances. Interactions on Facebook typically don't have a face-to-face conversation or real-world contact because Facebook is only accessed online. Other than contacting friends, Facebook gave a new meaning to the term popular culture. Now it is possible to achieve internet fame in seconds by creating a funny video or sharing an innovative idea. Popular culture has sparked the exchange of ideas across the United States and the world with the help of social networking websites like Facebook. Facebook set the platform for exchange throughout the United States by indirectly creating a stronger connection to our country through popular culture. We have contacted the information technician at our school to discuss how modern technology has changed the one important aspect of America, our education.
So, Mr. Brandenburg, how has technology and easy access to computers changed your job and education in general?
Well, Jack, that's a good question. I've been working as the technology person here at New Hanover for 5 years, and even in that short amount of time, it's changed a lot with the access that people have to technology now. Over the past few years, we've gained Wi-Fi around the school, so students are able to bring their own devices, which we didn't have that. The computers themselves that we use, the county, because the price has come down so much, the county was able to buy brand new computers to replace things that I used to hobble together on a daily basis. People would be calling me with problems with their Ethernet port or printers not hooking up correctly, things like that.
The digital revolution is still occurring today and is far from over. Innovators like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg are exploring the limitless possibilities of modern technology. With these new technologies come new issues with privacy and safety. But even with these roadblocks, it is safe to say that the digital world will certainly change in the years to come.